Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Talk Web's first Photoshop tutorial. What I'm going to be showing you today is how to create the header image that we use here at Let's Talk Web for our blog header image. I know I promised to have this up earlier in the week, just didn't get around to it. It was really busy with my job and with college and all that other good stuff, and just a tad bit of laziness perhaps, but we're going to do it now. And it's not really a complex image. There's some rotation involved and some shape warping, but nothing that's really over the top complex. What we're going to do is go into Photoshop, and I have the image that we have for the blog loaded up already, the final image. It is 1000 pixels wide by 288 pixels tall. So you just Control New or File New, 1000 pixels in width by 288 in height. Just click OK. And then what I like to do is I like to access the background, so I will hold Alt and double click the padlock, and that will give me access to this background layer. It'll change it to layer 0. You don't have to do it, it's just something that I like to do. Next we're going to go to the gradient tool, and I have it set up already. For the orange I have it set for F66B05 for the hexadecimal value if you want that information. Set at 77% location, and it just goes to a straight black. Now what I'm going to do is hold shift, position my cursor at the top of the canvas, hold shift, click, and then hold that mouse all the way down till I get something like that. I wanted a nice, mostly orange with a slight black, so just slightly darker shading at the bottom. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm going to save that now to my desktop. Header image is what I'll save it as. You want to save often because you know you don't want to lose any of that stuff, all that hard work you've worked on. If your computer just power surge and the power goes out or something like that, you don't want to lose all that. Next we're going to start adding the text. We'll start with let's here, and that is at let me see here, that's at Kalinga at 72 point. So what we'll do is click text, Kalinga 72 points already selected, so let's, and I'll bring in I have that position at 66 pixels in from the left, and we'll just drag that in. And now we'll edit, transform, rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise to get the text rotate like we want it. And there you go. Just line that up somewhere in the middle there. That looks pretty good to me. And next we'll create talk, which is the same. It's just 95 point font is what we're gonna change that in a second. Just highlight it and then 95 point. And I'll bring another ruler down, and I want to line it up with the edge of this S. Let's actually get this out of the way so I can change this a little more. There, that looks pretty good. And I want to line up the T with that line right there, that ruler. That looks good right there. Space a little more. And that's good. Finally, we're going to add web, and that is a different font and increased font size. That is Cooper Black at 108 points. Oh, and I did that, didn't I? I did do that. Alright. Whoops. Let's go back to talk here. Highlight that. Bring that back down to 95. And put this back to Kalinga. There. Alright. Whoops. That was my bad. Alright, so next what we'll do, go here. Oh, okay, we'll just work with this then. Web. Highlight it. 108 points. That's good to go. Delete this blank layer that I created by accident there. And then just drag. Oh, I still have that other layer selected, don't I? Still have talk selected. Line that back up. And then we'll go select the web layer. When I have the web layer selected, you probably will because you didn't screw up like I did. And then just bring this ruler down, line up with the L, and you can slide this one over line it up with the T. And then we'll just use our arrow keys and nudge it down and fit nicely with everything. So that's all there is to that. There's going to be some more shadow. There's going to be some drop shadow that we'll add in later, but for now that's good. Get rid of these for now. And next we're going to create the speech bubble we have here. And the speech bubble consists of an ellipse or oval and a triangle. So we'll start with the ellipse. So get your ellipse tool out, and we will drag out an ellipse here. And mine precisely is, let me see here, ellipse 267 by 147. You can change the dimensions, height and width dimensions of your shapes right up here. 167 by 147. And what I like about this too is you can link the width and height in Photoshop so that the proportions will stay in relation to each other. But we're gonna bring down another ruler, the top of the T again, or actually we'll just line it up with the top of the L. It wants to line up with the top of the L there. That's good. So we'll just line it up with that. Just nudge it over with your arrow keys. That looks pretty good. And next we'll throw in a triangle. Draw that out like so. Try to make sure your lines are nice. And boom. And we'll just drag that on over on top of the ellipse that we just made. And that looks pretty good. Now, I don't like the rigid sides, which is why I chose to make it. I just like that curvy look to it. As you see on this image, it curves in instead of just going straight down. The way we're going to fix that is we'll save first in case we screw anything up. Is we will go to Edit, Transform Path, Warp. And there it gives you this nice little grid where you can change all the lines on there and just warp it into all kinds of weird different ways. But what I did for this, I just took this dot here and I just drug it in to, I'd say just about right there. And then I took this one and drug it all the way out here. So that looks pretty good right there. So what this does is this takes this point and it'll just bend it inward, so it makes the rest of the line arc that way, just warps it in, and this one just pulls it out, just stretches it on out. If you can edit this and you can change around with the warp all you want, but when you're finally done, just click the check mark, or if you're unhappy with it and you want to just go back to the way everything was and cancel the transformation, just click this button up here. But I'm pretty happy with that right now, so I'm just going to confirm it, and there you have a nice curved tail for your speech bubble, as opposed to that rigid, just straight line stuff we had before. Next, we're going to add the text that's inside of the bubble. We'll start with HTML. I have the HTML open and closing brackets, and that is at, I don't even know what that is at. Cooper Black at 25 points. That's what it's at. So Cooper Black, go to text. Cooper Black at 25 points, and it is red. E21717 if you want the exact number. I'm just going to go HTML/HTML. And I'm just going to use the arrow keys to nudge it into place there. Make it nice and neat. So there you go. As a matter of fact, I'm going to drag it down further and slide it over. There, it looks good. Next, we have CSS. I do believe I took all of the same. Yeah, they're all 25 points, just different colors. So we got CSS with the open and close brackets. And I will get the exact blue here. 0BB5F4. Just copy that over. Change it right there. Boom. Nice and simple. And we'll just go back up to move and we'll slide that over, line that up. Bring out a ruler just to make it nicer, and actually that looks pretty good, so pretty happy with that. And just bump it up a little closer. Next, we'll go to JavaScript, and JavaScript is actually the same color as this orange. So there's nothing real special to that. We'll just type it in here, JavaScript. And we will change the color to this orange. Again, you just go up there and you can just copy the hexadecimal value, bring it over, and change the fill to any color that you want. And then we'll just go back up to the move tool, and we'll drag that down, drag another ruler down, just line everything up as perfect as we can here. Actually, I want the bottom of the J there to line up with it. There. Perfect. So there's that. And then finally, we will add the Photoshop in. Same technique as before. The only difference is you're going to have this different darker blue color. Photoshop. Change the color. Oops. So it'd help if I highlighted it. Change the color to that blue. Move tool again. And just throw it up there. I put it a little off just to make it not look so uniform, just to make it kind of, I don't exactly know how you'd explain it. It just looked nice this way, and that's what I went with. So there's that. You can get rid of the rulers now. And believe it or not, we're actually almost done with this image. Just save it again so we don't lose anything. The only final thing to add is the shadowing on web, talk, and the bubble itself. So what we'll do is go into the ellipse, double click the ellipse layer, go into drop shadow down here at the bottom, and we want to use global light for everything so the shadow stays uniform. You don't want like a shadow coming from this way and then a shadow like up here on talk. It's just going to look like you want to have one uniform light source giving you your drop shadows. So what mine is set to is 75%, an angle of negative 121 degrees, negative 121, with 7 pixel distance, 0 pixel spread, and 21 pixel in size. And it gives you a nice faded shadow. You can of course tweak these settings any way that you want to give you either a darker or even more faded shadow. And the angle, you can play around with that and see what it looks like. But we're good with that. And then we will go and do the same for talk and web. So talk, drop shadow. And as a matter of fact, it's pretty much almost set. The global light, because you use global light, it automatically sets it to that angle that you set for the speech bubble. If you want to use a different angle, you can also do that. But if you have the use global light selected, as I will show you here, I can change it. I can change it all around. It will alter the shadow for everything because global light is selected. If you deselect it, it will only alter that one selection. So that's a nice little thing to keep in mind when you're working with drop shadows. But the settings are exactly the same, 7 for the distance and 21 for the size. Actually, may have made it a little different. 5 and 5 and 65% for talk. 65%, 5 and 5. 65%, 5 and 5. So 65%, 5 and 5. There. That gives you more, just a lot nicer drop shadow than what we just saw. And I believe then, let me double check on web to make sure I have it. Yep, 65, 5 and 5. So then we go to web, double click the layer, drop shadow, 5 and 5, and then lower the opacity to 65%. And that's it. That's your image right there. You just save that, and you can export it as any file format that you want. But that's all there is to it. That was that's all there is. Just some basic shapes, some warping, and some text rotation, and then some layer effects with the drop shadows and gradients. But this has been Let's Talk Web's first Photoshop tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed watching. And please spread the blog around, send links, like, share this post or any of the other posts on the blog, and if you would like, comment and let me know of any other Photoshop tutorials you might want to see in the future. I'm willing to take requests at this point in time and do my best to get those out as timely as possible. But for now, this has been Let's Talk Web. Thanking you for watching.